looks it differently. He has appointed you because you will find joy. You will find joy. Not only now, but can you imagine when the Lord comes and somebody comes whispering to you, we were together on the campus, and you remember what you did? Had it not been for that, I would not be here. Well, I know heaven is a beautiful place, a wonderful place to be. But coupled up with those other testimonies like this, you mean, Lord, there is something little that you can do through me for the salvation of mankind? By the way, let me say this, a wonderful privilege. Wonderful privilege. I always joke with people on this. It's one thing once you have done your studies, graduated with honors and your flying colors and you're looking for a job, you start off, but one of these days you hear President Obama say, I appoint you to be my vice president. Wow. How do you feel about that? Kind of proud, don't you? Feel good. Well, he has singled me out. Probably somebody too. And you don't have to be told. You will begin acting like a vice president, won't you? You will talk like a vice president. You will dress up like a vice president. You don't have to be told. You don't have to wait to be told. You just find yourself loving to do it because that's what it is to be a vice president, for that matter. The Lord has appointed you. You are my witness. You are my servant whom I have appointed. Would you be excited? How excited are you about that appointment? And I would charge you, if you are excited, be one. Be what God wants you to be on that campus. My witness, my servant, be one. And be proud of it. Be happy. Enjoy it. It's not easy. It's not easy. Thinking of the context where you're in, age, peer pressure, social pressure that comes around you, may not be easy. But you know, I repeat again, it's not about you. It's the Lord wanting to use you as his instrument to fulfill his purposes. Whom shall I send? I, Lord. I know I like the story of Nehemiah. I like the story of Nehemiah. Let's go to the book of Nehemiah. Remind ourselves again. Because I want to bring this to you. God will come and call you in a very ordinary manner. There are some who are called in extraordinary ways. But God can come to you in a very unassuming manner to call you. And there is a danger of missing it. There is a danger of missing an opportunity where God is calling you to engage in a task that he has for you. Right where you are. By the way, God calls us right where we are. In the same situation he finds us. Right there, that's where the Lord calls us. So Nehemiah is actually in the White House. A slave, but in the White House. I want to propose to you that here is a slave who was comfortable, because to be a slave in the State House is one good thing. Yet he was also a cupbearer, a special assistant to the king. Nehemiah, because of the kind of a man that he was, even though a foreigner, the kingdom wanted his services. And therefore he climbs the ladders, as it were, up until this December, between December 5 and January 3. December 5 for 45 BC or January 3, 444 BC. Between that time is a month of Kislev. He was sitting in the state house, Nehemiah, and he had come, brethren, from home, Jerusalem. And Nehemiah would ask, how are things back home? And the report in verse 2, Hananiah, one of my brothers, came from Judah with some other men, and I questioned them about Jewish remnant that survived the exile and also about Jerusalem. They say, those who survived the exile and are back in the province are in great trouble and disgrace. The walls of Jerusalem is what? Is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire. Broken walls, broken walls. And then Nehemiah hears the story. And by the way, this is a credible story. If you read about Nehemiah, a credible report from Hananiah. If you read about Nehemiah later on, in subsequent chapters, it's told of him that he was a faithful man. He was a faithful man. So here's a credible report. Things are no good. Summed up, broken walls. These are physical walls. But we have also a lot of broken walls spiritually. And Nehemiah hears this news clip. And being in the state house, just imagine this. You are in the state house. Your needs are cared for very well in the state house. It's a comfort zone, actually. Very comfortable for Nehemiah. And here comes news. Things are no good in Jerusalem. You know, when you are swimming in comfort, news like this can come just like another news. And therefore the report would be given, and here would Nehemiah probably say, all right, that's okay. As for me, things are good for me. I'm okay. Well, as for them, probably they are not lucky with their God. My God is with me. Nehemiah was not such a man. Here comes a piece of information, and he does not take it lightly. How do I know that? The moment he heard that, in subsequent verses, verse 4, when I heard these things, I did what? I sat down. I wept. I mourned. I fasted. I prayed. Sat down. Wept. Mourned. Prayed. Fasted. What a response to just this piece. Things are not good at all. Now listen to me. When God impresses you with a burden, remember, it's more than just a burden. It's a call to engage. And at that, sometimes I say, wow, even me, there are many opportunities that I have missed because, yes, there are things that God has impressed on my mind and they were a burden. How can it be? Why is this so? What? And yet, I didn't go beyond that to sense that God was actually calling me to engage. Nehemiah instructs me. Because once the Lord impressed him on this, Nehemiah was determined, as you will find later, that, well, I sense this is God's call, and I will want God to be with me so that we can together, Lord and myself, work this situation out. And you know, Nehemiah knew where to begin. When the Lord calls you to engage in repairing the walls, remember this, it begins with myself. It begins with you. I need to have my walls also repaired if I shall be a repairer of walls. My own life should be a testimony of what mended walls look like.